if you're somebody that feels like you gotta wear a mask 24/7, take that shit off, bro. It's not worth it, man. Like we got what 80, 70, 80 years permitted on this earth if your health is good. Spending time being anything else but yourself is just not worth it. I'm not sitting here saying you should go to work and be like twerking or whatever or saying inappropriate shit, but you know what I mean, you should be around people that like just love you for who you are and like accept you for who you are. Those are the people that are going to help you thrive in life. Those are the people that you can have beautiful connections with.
Be where you're accepted, not tolerated.
Exactly. Like I've cut family members off because listen, man. If I can't be me, then you can't be you around me. You can't be around me. I don't.
Yo, yes, we're back, y'all. Welcome back to the IC, the illest and realest podcast on the planet, motherfucker. Fuck you talking about? I go by the name of Sean Johnson. Follow me at AskSadeRenee because it's a movie. And I got my boy right here, Gino Brown, aka Old Head Steph. Holla at your boy, Sadè Reneè. Holla at your girl. Hey. You are back to another episode of the IC. We are the family. How's everybody doing today?
I'm good. Pretty good. A little burnt, you know what I mean? We getting back to it. You already know, like I said.
We getting back to this thing right here.
You already know. Hey man, it's been good. You know what I mean? Got the weather getting a little better, you know what I mean? Nice and warmer. Hopefully we get rid of some rain and shit. But you know, other than that, we good. We out here grinding, YouTube popping. Hey man, if y'all been following me on Head Steph, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the support. And I'm about to start a Discord or server, so if y'all want to jump in, where you can communicate amongst each other and chat it up with your boy. Also, the IC is about to start their own Discord as well, so we can chop it up with all of us in there as well. We're gonna be on there talking it up. And we're going to start getting some guests on the show pretty soon. So everything's going good. Cool. Yeah.
That'd be cool. Mix it up a little bit. So I have a really good one. I like busting you guys' brains. This one is our ego. Is it friend or foe? I come across a few videos about a concept that I personally am obsessed with. I love it. And it's the concept of the ego. So these videos are basically saying that they're talking about defining, creating, or activating alter egos. And basically, your ego's purpose is to prevent. Your ego is meant to prevent you from acting on your basic urges. Also works as to achieve balance within your morals and idealistic standards. So your ego is not supposed to work against you. Yourself is supposed to be working along with your ego, right? So it's saying like, basically you can define or create its character names, its strengths, its roadblocks, its vibe to support your highest self. It's literally like creating the image of the best version of yourself. Mm-hmm. And instead of, cause like I've seen this a lot, kind of like people falling into ego traps of superiority, or you spoke on this before, the victim mindset. And that's pretty much like the ego kind of defending you. And your ego is basically a concept of yourself that you made up over time based on your experiences. And this proposal is that you can, rather than allowing your ego to define how you see yourself, you can use it to project how you want to be seen. Does that make sense?
It's I get what you're saying. I'm not gonna lie. I from especially in my music years throughout my career was obsessed with the id, the ego, and the super ego.
Right, exactly. The id creates the ego, and the super ego influences the ego.
I thought the id was just your deep, this straight, uninhibited desires.
Yes.
I was like, that was my character. Like I wanted my persona. Like the id was taking over for the music.
Right.
But as far as the ego, I thought my understanding of the id, the ego, and the super ego, I could be incorrect, but I thought the ego was how the ego would keep the id at bay and the super ego would check. So basically, the super ego would be basically how you see
it's the balance.
The super ego would be like, we shouldn't do the id. Like, so let me give my understanding from zero. So the id would be like, oh, S is eating a sandwich. I'm hungry. I'm gonna eat that sandwich and eat it. The ego would be like, yo, we probably shouldn't do that because you're gonna look bad in their eyes. And then the super ego would be like, hey, you shouldn't do that because it's not morally correct.
Right. So the id is your, like you said, it's your most like aggressive, your most basic primal, wants and needs, like on a very, very basic level. Mm-hmm. You get what I'm saying? Your ego is the balance of that. Your super ego is kind of like, it's like checks and balances.
The regulator to see which one comes is okay.
Right. So your ego is really supposed to help you. But a lot of times because of people's experiences, their ego can kind of work against them. Okay. You get what I'm saying? So let's say your id is very aggressive in nature. Your ego can say, yo, he's trying to play you.
Let the id out. Let the id out.
You get what I'm saying? Or your id could be in survival mode in a way where you're the perpetual victim. So your ego is saying, oh, you're being attacked again.
So, okay, let the id out and we're going to fight back. Okay.
Or I'm going to retreat and run from this person when I can really probably say, no, that's not who I am. Sorry that you feel that way. You get what I'm saying? You can stand up for yourself.
So the super ego is supposed to check the ego.
Right. Okay. So the concept is building, and I love this concept because when you talked about self-awareness, it starts at self-awareness. There's like a whole pyramid of levels of becoming the master of yourself. And controlling and understanding and defining the ego kind of falls under self-transformation, which falls right under self-mastery. So when you control your ego, you're pretty much deciding, this is who I am. I know my basic primal aggressive or most primal urges is I need money. My highest self, your ego says I deserve and I'm worthy of the most money I could possibly make.
I think we need to break this down into pennies. You get what I'm saying? A lot of people are going to feel like that is Chinese. You get what I'm saying? A lot of people are going to feel like that is Chinese. When we talk about ego, right? Yeah. Everybody is living.
It's the Freudian theory.
Yes.
What's the Freudian theory?
So Freud was a psychologist, which he came up with,
and a psychoanalyst.
He came up with the idea of the id, the ego, and the superego. So basically, but his was a little diluted.
Carl Jung
convoluted. It was very geared off of sex and some sexual nature you have for your mother or some crazy shit. But essentially, what it broke down was just basically different compartments of a person's personality and the psyche of the person. And the id, which is like, for me, is really cool. Like if anybody's into anime or anything, there's Tokyo Ghoul. Ooh. I love the anime. It's like very dark. Your id is like,
your hidden
I'm
memories.
horny. I want to fuck that girl. I'm gonna go do it, which is crazy.
Like the devil and the angel.
The devil and the angel. So basically, your id is your darkest person, your darkest part of you. So it's the most, your desires. I want it and I want it now. It's your drive. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then the ego was supposed to be is one part of the regulators, basically allowing the id free. And when is it going to allow it to go free? And the super ego is supposed to regulate both.
It's moral conscious, your ethical compass.
Is the super ego really essentially yourself?
I don't think so.
No, it's.
I think it's the face that you choose to show people.
So who's yourself?
The id. In my opinion, I feel like the id.
In my opinion,
because it's the one place that you don't show anybody. Like if I want, like,
but when I'm by myself, I'm not a motherfucking hedonistic horn dog.
You don't have to be.
No,
so why is that myself?
If you want to beat your dick, though, you wouldn't pull your dick.
No. If you want to do some shit like that when you by yourself, but you've got discipline and you trained yourself to not act like that when you by yourself.
Yeah, but what is the purpose? Like,
You
for
get what I'm
instance, like, there's no reason not to be that. It's like, if I want to beat my dick and I'm at home, I'm gonna beat my dick. There's no. What I'm saying is, like, I'm not saying you have no control. The id is doing what you want. It's literally what you want to do. So you're in. Go ahead.
The id is really just like your primal needs. If you ever heard of the hierarchy of needs, it's like the most basic needs that need to be fulfilled.
Stimulation and shit like that.
You get what I'm saying?
I get it.
Sex, food, eating. The id, like you said, the id wants what you need.
Yeah.
The ego is
what you want, though.
You said what you need. It's
what
like it's more of like a need. It's more like
sex is not necessarily a need.
No, sex is a need as
to survive. In what aspect though?
That's what I'm saying.
In many aspects.
Well, what about incels that don't get sex?
You said
they can still live. It's not a need. It's not because
it's a psychological need.
You need food, shelter, and clothing. That's what you need.
You also need human contact, human connection to become self-actualized and to really come into the completion of yourself.
To be okay.
To be full and whole as an individual. You need these compartments to be filled. And sex isn't necessarily physical sex. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, there's lots of ways to fill that need because sexual energy can be creative energy. You get what I'm saying? Like, I think you guys are thinking about this on a very surface level when it's like your need to express a certain aspect of yourself, a need to be able to understand it and connect with it.
I disagree just because, like,
I think where we're disagreeing is the need part.
Yeah, because, that animalistic nature that humans have is like overshadowed by the sophistication that we have. Like when you see like dogs out in the public and he wants to fuck another dog, he's just gonna hop on top and start fucking her. Like when you're in the club, you're not doing that, and that's totally like unacceptable to start touching a girl. You get what I'm saying? That's animalistic. So to say that your id, like you see a girl and she's lusting and you're like, oh, I want to go fuck, and you're going to go.
But that's why you have your super ego and your ego to balance. That's what it's for. That's what I'm saying. The psyche.
The id is not saying you're gonna go do it.
No, it's just the initial desire, the initial thought of it that exists within you. Doesn't mean you're gonna fall into it. And the people that fall into it are held at consequences, and most of the time they're put in facilities.
Yeah.
So you mean that's like the most animalistic,
the most primitive
that we have.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. The most primitive nature part of yourself.
And the reason why I kind of like fell in love with it, like not the act of doing the like animalistic thing, but I feel like it's the truest form of yourself, in my opinion, because at the end of the day, it's like there's so much things that we can't say or we won't say. Because it's not right to say. No, but think about it. Like, if you really think about it. Like,
I'm thinking about it.
Like, think about it. Like, in a conversation where, like, you, like, for instance, have you ever spoken to someone that you think they're dumb?
Yes.
You're not going to say, yeah, you're fucking dumb. And then,
yes, I will.
Okay, well.
No,
so maybe your id is a little
Nah, but
if you're in, like, a work setting, you're not going to say that.
Listen.
Okay.
My super ego will give me the tools to say what needs to be said
in a certain way,
in a certain manner.
But that's what I mean.
What I'm saying? So
that's still filtered though.
It's filtered, but it's about appropriateness, and that's where it's like a checks and balances system. I can still be honest in my opinion and consider that what I might say might hurt you. So how can I say this in a moral and ethical way where you're going to get the picture? And I'm not gonna destroy your ego.
That's very in control and very aware of those balances and still how to get the id.
Because I have been that person who's like, you're fucking dumb. Can you please get away from me? I don't want to talk to you.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So like, I feel like, and even if it's not even on that level, something that's personal to you and that you just want to get out of you. And like, for instance, like somebody's like, say if you're fucking just like horny or whatever, and you want to like, I don't know, like
been there too.
You know what I mean? As an artist, like we have this like, especially today's time, drugs and everything, and like releasing inhibitions when you're on certain type of drugs. And I feel like that was a big part of like my music career, like being on. Remember,
what did it do for you? Like, was it
make a lot of mess? But you know,
I mean, like as far as like I understand it, drugs kind of help lower your inhibitions.
Yeah,
they lower that wall between like appropriateness or kind of like over analyzing something or overthinking something, and it just like that whole wall just fucking goes away, and you just do.
It definitely helped me connect with more people. Also, I was going through a very bad time in my life, like when I was doing shit like that. But for the most part, it helped my music. My music was very, very intimate, very personal, very relatable. And the people that did connect with it, they understood. I feel like they understood me. On another level, as far as like going out and having fun, like I fucking had fun, and you know I made connections with people that either they were in a bad place in their life, and we mingled for a little while. You know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Just being in that dark ass place and just allowing it to take control was. I don't think it's the greatest thing to do, but you know it's like raging. You know, like Kid Cudi's song "Raging" and shit. Like The Weeknd. Somebody I really like The Weeknd's like my like probably top 3 R&B artists in my life. Like I fuck with The Weeknd just because it's the content of his music. Like I feel like he is the id. Like you know what I mean?
Right.
So, well, it's earlier content.
So basically, what I was trying to like.
Muffle. I know we kind of.
No. It's completely okay because I feel like exploring that this is my gym. Sorry, did this to you guys.
No, that's cool.
But it's more about like character design of the self. You get what I'm saying? Using those primal basic needs along with your super ego to create this version of yourself that feeds both. Do you get what I'm saying? The highest version of yourself that is worthy of your primal needs and uses moral, ethical justification to align yourself with exactly what you want. Like you said, if you want something and you there's something you desire in your life, you kind of have to be in alignment with it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So let's say the version of yourself now kind of just isn't really living in the place you want, have the life you want, the job you want, the money that you want. The idea that I came across was like choosing all the best parts of both. And creating and getting in alignment with the highest, most ideal version of yourself.
So it's more like a precision thing.
Yes. So it's like, it's self-transformation. So a lot of times, like in psychology, you basically use models. Let's say, you idolize, Cleopatra as a woman. You get what I'm saying? So it's not necessarily that you want to be Cleopatra or even idolize like someone like I have like Felicia Rashad or just like there's women who embody certain things that fulfill my super ego and my id, and combining that to meet my own needs to fall in alignment with the life that I want. I just thought that was really cool because I think a lot of times a lot of people pretend. You know, we walk, like you said, we walk around, we hide behind personas, we wear masks. There's no true version of ourselves. And I feel like it's a coping mechanism, and it's because this is what you're trying to do. This is it. Like, this is what people are really trying to do. They're trying to get in alignment with the idealist version of themselves to create the ideal version of their lives. And instead of kind of like, understanding it's a primal need and your moral bringing it together, they're just going straight into like seeing someone they like identify with and like, I'm gonna be that person. I'm gonna be a rapper. I'm gonna be that person. You get what I'm saying? And they fall in a trap because it's not fully in alignment with their true nature. I that's what I'm saying. I mean, you guys are both, you know, in the music world. So I just thought it would be.
No, I feel like in order to like, well, I don't know about, I feel like, even today, and when you're in any type of creative form or creative profession or creative environment, I think allowing the id to take control is a part of the process of creating greatness, honestly, because there's a conversation that can't be had all the time and not in every scenario. And sometimes people escape in those places. So like, for me, like with the music, that's what I said. I let the id take over. I'm not sitting here saying I was out here slapping asses. You're
expressing it.
I was just raging, you know what I mean? Like if I needed, you know what I mean? It could have gotten unhealthy. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a pussy when it comes to drugs. I don't want you to think I was out here like popping pills every day. It wasn't like that. But like when the time came, you know what I mean? I let it out. And it would seep into my music. And I feel like some of the best music I've ever created was when I allowed myself to be vulnerable, allowed myself to feel and put whatever that hidden pain or hidden desire was on wax. You know what I mean? So it's just like, I don't know, like that obsession for me with the super ego, it went on for a long. I even came out, you know, I was trying to, I still am studying to become a developer. I'm learning about developing, coding, excuse me. I want to make my own game, and I give you a little synopsis of what it is. Like I have an idea where I wanted to like create this story where there's 3 friends where it was called, Sid and the Frigo Twins.
I like that.
You know what I mean? So it's basically 3 friends. There's a guy and a girl, which are the Frigo twins. They're twins. And there's the main character, which is Sid. And Sid is supposed to be like, whatever. It's basically, it's some adventure game or whatever I've created. There's a whole script for it. And what ends up being is like when they get together, they like, you know, they come strong and what are you fighting, whatever. And they fight. What end up happening is you find out towards the end that Sid is actually Sid and the Frigo twins are actually one person. It's just he's fucked up in the head, and he's created these people, which is the Frigo twins are like telling him like Sid is code for id.
Yes,
and the Frigo twins are the super ego and the ego. Just for people that don't get it, but it's just that was the storyline. But yeah, I love it. I love it because it's just, I don't know, something about the human mind and how we work and how like, you know what I find to be like good content, and it's weird, and I don't know if it's creepy, it's just, but just seeing people in their own element. Like you go to work with people like Carol that works in fucking HR. And she's, hey, how you doing? How's your day? I want to see how Carol is by herself. You know what I mean?
Right.
I feel like there's something I find very intriguing about a person when he's alone.
Are you a voyeur?
See, but that
I don't know what that is.
I think
you don't know what voyeurism is?
Mm-mm.
It's like the people who like to watch people. Like I people watch when no.
Oh, okay.
There's many levels of it.
Okay.
But
I
it's
don't
like,
creepy
okay,
shit, but you
like
know
let's say like when I'm looking out the window, I'm watching people walk and I'm like, I wonder where he's going. Maybe he's a husband and he's a dad and he's carrying the bag.
So don't you think it's fucking interesting when you see your principal from high school?
I study psychology and philosophy.
At the supermarket.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I honestly think that's the new level of social media that we're at.
Yeah,
because when corporate companies would like sign an artist and they'll keep his mystique, and like he's like very secretive. Those artists kind of don't really work anymore. They want to see like how they're living, how they act. Yeah, think about like I'm a producer, so I used to look at a bunch of artists in the studio, like producers in the studio, Kanye making the beat, Just Blaze making the beat, and you kind of want to see their process and adapt those things to your process. That's something normal that as we grew as a society, we get to see it in social media. Now, instead of tuning into Will Smith whenever he drops a movie or drops an interview, we can watch his Instagram.
Yeah, and we see him at home interacting with his kids, being a dad. Like we don't see that aspect. Yeah. And I always found that to be like, I don't know, it's like another level of human connection that I feel like is like, well, obviously we're tapping into it now because social media is so and intimate. But I feel like that is the desire that it's something to do with it as well. It's just like, I do this weird thing. You know what's dope? When you see a meme or punchlines in rap song, Lloyd Banks is cooler than the other side of the pillow. Why did that hit so hard? I'll tell you why. Because it's like, my nigga, I do that shit too. When I wake up middle of the night and my face is hot, bro, I flip the pillow and then it hits for you. It's like, I didn't know that was a normal thing. I thought it was just something I figured out.
Like just like those memes. I saw a meme when they were like, when somebody hits the corner too hard and you see their finger on the side of the seat, like you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And it's
something as small as that.
Those small like inside, like I feel like the whole world as Like the whole society right now, we have inside jokes with each other.
Yeah, and that's
like it's crazy because you think of even like Spider-Man, right? Pointing at each other.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like, who chose Spider-Man to be a symbol of a certain idea in the back of your head?
Some paradox, yeah.
Yeah. SpongeBob doing this and that funny face is like when someone mocks you.
Yeah.
When somebody's like, and like you see SpongeBob with like looking all squirrely and shit. Yeah, you just it's like we all have inside jokes now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Wolverine looking at the picture.
Yeah, which one is that?
Like you'll see like Wolverine and he's like being like reminiscent and he has like a picture frame and people will put anything in those picture frames.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like we have inside jokes as a society now and we all share it together. That's why like when the last show we were talking about the whole Kevin Samuels thing and how people were celebrating his death. Yeah. I think it's kind of related to an inside joke of people hating him rather than people really having that animosity. It's like people jump on a bandwagon and troll and antagonize a certain idea rather than really feel that way. Like, probably saying it the wrong way, but it's like that inside joke that the whole world
collective consciousness
collective consciousness that the whole world shares with each other now is being trolled itself.
Okay, I get what you're saying. I get, and that's I don't know, bro. I feel like that's like another level of, I don't even know what to call the phenomenon. I just find it extremely interesting it's like something that we don't talk about enough. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Something that you don't think about, like. Well,
it's funny because that's all I want to talk about. I just don't think that, I think that.
So you don't like small talk?
I kind of use small talk to kind of gauge who I can go deep with.
I don't like small talk.
I've learned, like I said, I've been through a lot and I took a class on social skills. I didn't always have social skills because I wasn't good at small talk. Like, oh, hey, how's the weather? You know, and this today on the news, they said, I really can't do that, but it's helped me kind of gauge who has access to certain depths of ways of thinking. Yeah. And for me, as growing up, I didn't feel understood. So I kind of dived into this world of, and then I kind of like tried to adapt and get along and be like, I developed my own persona of like this dumb,
put a mask on.
Of a dumb, like, I just got to a point where I didn't really like myself. And I was just like, oh, ew. Like, and then I was embarrassed. And then people give you names and people have these preconceived ideas about you. And you just get to a point where you're like, is that who I am? Like, you start questioning. And I was a student, then I was a patient, then I was a freaking professional. And I just became like super, like, just like, me understanding psychology and philosophy and spirituality, not only did it help me understand myself, but it made me a little bit more curious about other people. It made me want to engage and socialize and learn the social skills to kind of connect with other people. And I was just felt weird because I'm just like, I want to know how your brain works. And it's just like, that's not normal. And people don't want to talk about that.
That's interesting though. I think it is.
It is, but not too many people want to go there. Like some people just want to keep it light. Like there's some certain topics there, like somebody will bring it to me and I'm like, yo, keep it light, bro. Not today. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But generally speaking, that's people want to keep it light, and I can understand that and I can respect that.
I know a couple people like that, and that's funny because I'm the type of person, I'm similar to you, like when in that aspect. I like to I don't want to scratch surfaces. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know who you are. You know what I mean? Especially if I'm trying to, like, if you're close to
connect.
Me. You know what I mean? If we're gonna connect, let's connect. I got a friend, like my boy, like we grew up together, so I know this man through and through. He's like that though, like not like he wants everything to keep it light. He could be going through like hell. Yeah. And he's gonna act like everything's normal. And I'm like, bro, that's not healthy, bro. Like you gotta let out. And I'll try to drag it out of him. And then you know what I'll do? I'll say everything that I see based off of being him, knowing him. I see what you're going through, and this and the other, and I say this and I say it, and he'll just listen. And if I'm right, I'm right, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But he need that, and I know that because he's just like he still has that mentality where it's like I'm a man, I can't talk about certain shit. You know what I mean? It's just like, and that shit ain't healthy at all. I don't think it's healthy. I think the more intimate we can get with conversations and skip past all the bullshit. And I'm not saying just, put your heart on your sleeve and tell everybody your business, but, you should have that type of person where you can release that.
I went from all of those extremes. Like, I walked around with my heart on my sleeve and just was like, I'm this and I'm this. And that was held against me. And then, they will hold and then it got to the point where I realized that nobody, like mad people knew me, but didn't know you. They knew of me. They interacted with me, but they had no fucking clue who I was at all. And they it was almost like I protected and hid that part of myself, and just kind of like getting to a point in my life where it's like, okay, who am I? Who do I want to be? Like, what's the best version of myself? And like just coming across people who are struggling with who they are. And then some people saying, oh, I don't need to change. And you can see that they're not necessarily happy with who they are, but they don't have the depth to even explore that. And I think there's just so much beauty, just like the last conversation, the last episode, when we were talking about how like the evolution of humans. I think it's just like you can evolve, like, while we're here, it's like, why be stuck in one way of seeing yourself based off of Lord knows what? You get what I'm saying? Like, why can't I create the version of myself that I want to see, walk in that, and then eventually that's what my life reflects. I just think that's cool. Yeah,
I agree. I agree with you.
I just think it's cool, and not faking it. You get what I'm saying? Not that fake it till you make it shit, but just like literally like dressing and walking and talking like the person that you've always wanted to be.
One thing I will tell you that from my experience, wearing masks get heavy, lonely, heavy. It's traumatizing sometimes. I'm gonna tell you right now, like, and I don't mean on some like. Just even like, having a code switch at work, you know what I mean? Like it's just doing it too much. You need to have an outlet where you can just take the mask off and just be you and let out sometimes. We're yin and yang. We're people full of like, we're good and negative. You know what I mean? Positive and negative. We gotta and we gotta release the negative. You know what I mean? If you keep holding it with inside yourself, I believe it's very, very
dangerous.
Counterproductive to a higher self. And
okay, so speaking of like nostalgic things, I wanted to talk about conspiracy theories from the 90s, like cartoon conspiracy theories. So
I know the Simpsons is in this motherfucker.
No, actually, the one that I chose was about Pinky and the Brain. And basically, it's like, it comes down to that. Everybody thought the Brain was the smart one. It was really Pinky.
Was it?
Yeah. Freaking Brain was just a megalomaniac who was like obsessed with this idea. Yeah. But if you notice, nothing he ever did.
It never worked out.
It
never worked out.
And Pinky was the smart one.
I think Pinky was just more simple. And it was like, yo, bro, XYZ, just XYZ. You know what I mean? I feel like he didn't complicate shit, but he definitely was a little wacky and a little weird.
Yo, that was like a real nostalgic like era for like just cartoons in general,
bro.
Just like waking up Saturday morning to like, that was WB.
They had
dope ass
yeah, just waking up at that time and just
morning.
And just seeing all those cartoons and stuff. I'm sure like. We were talking about it before, where people don't want to tune into a schedule,
regular scheduled program.
Yeah, programming, and they want to binge watch everything now. But there was something about catching recess at a certain time, and then
the new Batman Begins, bro.
Batman Beyond.
I like Batman
Beyond. That shit was fire. I used to love that shit.
I still watched it.
Yeah,
I was waiting for the Joker, Harley Quinn.
Yeah, did they just stop making it?
Yeah.
Why? That was dope.
They just discontinued it after a while.
That's crazy. We had some dope ass cartoons.
Oh,
bro.
Yo, you remember that Power Ranger toy where you flip the chest and it'll be like the regular head?
Yeah. Like, McDonald's, they had that, right?
Nah,
no, you had to get that from Toys R Us.
Yeah, you had to get that shit from the store.
I got the yellow one for Christmas.
Right?
Shit, I ain't get them things. All the toys I got was from McDonald's, my nigga. Shit. Mom dudes was not having it.
I was a spoiled little bitch.
Yo, there was a time when we was growing up. I'm sure people remember this, where yo-yo was a thing.
Remember that? My nigga, if you didn't have, and you had to, you couldn't just have a regular yo-yo.
You needed a yo-yo that slept.
If you couldn't walk the dog, or you couldn't sleep your shit, my nigga, or you couldn't cradle the shit while it's still spinning,
like
that shit was not popping.
So sleeping is when you would have a yo-yo. This was like what? 4th, 5th grade.
5th grade,
and everybody had an Omega yo-yo.
Omega, oh my! And what's the other one? There was Omega. There was Sharpshooter,
Butterfly,
the butterfly,
some butterfly shit.
There was
remember the light up joint?
The light up joints was crazy.
No, but those weren't real sleep professional.
You had to have the professional joints.
Yeah. So when you sleep is when you throw the yo-yo down and it will just start spinning for like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? The longer your yo-yo slept is like the more tricks you can do with this shit.
Exactly. So you just
it's not no motherfucking Leave It to Beaver shit where you just like doing this all over. That's boring.
Yeah.
Like you would sleep the yo-yo and it'd be like and then you just like doing all of this type of shit.
And you would have to have the hand skills to flick it back up and make it roll, because so basically it was the wheel in the middle of the yo-yo.
Yes.
It was spin as well with the yo-yo. So it wouldn't just wrap back up.
It was like a gyro.
Almost like a fidget spinner.
Almost like if anybody.
Like a fidget spinner.
Yeah, exactly. If
that's
anybody
crazy.
had
That's
a bike,
yo-yo.
That's what I'm.
Wow.
Yeah.
They had so
the fidget spinner is like the yo-yo. Yeah, exactly.
That's their yo-yo.
It's something that I think kids have with you remember the you get like a BMX bike?
Yeah.
And they used to have the gyro?
Yeah.
You know, you remember what the gyro was?
Yeah.
It's basically if your handlebars can spin.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Over and over and over. Because in a regular bike, you spin the handlebars.
The whole wheel spin.
The cable, the brakes will get wrapped up.
Yeah.
So I was too clumsy for
you couldn't spin the shit over and over and over.
Yeah, because you get caught up in the
same was for yo-yos. The same is for like the
Pegs?
Fidget spinners.
Ooh, yeah.
Pegs on bikes.
Yo, it's crazy.
Bikes for life.
Like, at what year did toys stop being a thing? Do you remember how many commercials there was?
Kids still have to play with toys.
Kids don't play with toys.
They don't play with toys.
They don't play with toys?
They play with iPad. Bro.
They play with iPads.
My nigga.
They make slime. They make shit.
He got an iPad.
He don't play with toys.
He does not play with toys, bro. He got like teddy bears and shit, but that's about, he ain't got no action figures.
No, really? I think the last
iPads.
The last I've seen people play with toys was like my son. He's 15, and when he was little, he liked cars and he liked action figures. But
my sister,
he collected them, but he did not play with them. And my daughter doesn't even watch TV. She just straight make shit and watch iPad.
Yo, that's a fact, bro.
They don't.
My sisters they had like Bratz dolls and shit, but then after that, it was just like phone. That was it.
Yeah. Once you get that phone, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Yo, part of me thinking of ideas for like short films and shit came from when I had action figures and I used to sit with these action figures and
make stories.
Think of they used to fight. Make stories for them for a whole hour. And when you think about it now, somebody comes to you, yo, I got this song, yo, it's about me in the bathtub with a shorty, but she not really there. Make a video. What, nigga? And it's like I have to tap into this imagination where nothing is there, and I'm having like the time of my life. So I go back to the nigga with the story, like, yo, I got an idea. You ever see the movie Inception? So we gonna do and they're like, what the fuck? How'd you think of that?
Yeah.
And it's like the more you play with your imagination as a kid,
the
more vivid it is.
That's like a muscle. I didn't even think about that. So then what kind of content will we be getting in the future? I mean, like,
think about it.
Most of the stuff is like DIY and dancing and aesthetics. There's no, there is imagination within like the transitions. It's more technical. It's not so we were just like the way we thought was out of this world because we didn't have access to knowing so much stuff. We had to make it up. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's weird because I played with Barbie dolls, so I was like 15, 16 years old. And I used to build houses for them. I used to like have all these different families of Barbies. But my daughter watched people play with Barbies on YouTube.
That's something that blows my mind.
Weird.
That blows my mind. Niggas really watch niggas play with toys.
They watch people play with toys.
But also too, niggas watch, like kids watch other kids play video games.
But that I get though, because in the end of the day, you're not just going there to watch somebody play the video game. Because it's not like I'm sitting there going like this. What you're getting is also, all right, let's see what this game is about. What does he know about the game that I don't know about? How good is he at the game? And then also you got everything around it. Like I play music when I stream and stuff like that. It's just, that person reacting to getting shot. Like, you know what I mean? It's a whole different thing. But with the toys, it's a little different.
You can also,
relate them.
You can relate it to like, the video game is an imagination. How is he playing with his imagination? Oh, I didn't think of that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, how does he
Maybe he's the bad guy and he's not the bad guy. You get what I'm saying? So, like, it's all relative, but I guess the video game is a little more, like, tangible.
Yeah, it's more tangible and it has a higher limit.
The kids nowadays are not like us. Like, I have to remind my kids, like, be a kid while you're a kid, because when this is up, it's up. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, when I was a 13-year-old and the 13-year-olds now, they look like they look like little adults, but their facial, they still look like kids, but their attire, the way they dress, their conversation, the situations they get into are way more like, I was not thinking about half the shit they're thinking about now. Like I was such a like, I was like such a naive, just like new to the world. Like I didn't know, like Spice Girls. Like I was just it was so freeing being a kid. Like now it's just like they're like little fucking adults. Like they're not, they're not so childish and imaginative. And
I ain't gonna lie, kids will fucking teach you some shit, my nigga.
Hell yeah.
It's crazy because kids are now everything that we used to make fun of them about. So it's like you can almost see it that kids don't think nobody's cool, you know, and they even don't think that themselves is cool, but that's cool. Do you get what I'm saying? Back in the day, we'll have like a Mace or Fabulous. You get what I'm saying? And these guys are like cool guys, and it's just like, oh my God, I wish I can be that cool, you know? But now the cool people are like the people that like Trippie Redd or like people that don't really hold this smooth persona. Yeah,
I see what you're saying.
You get what I'm saying? And hold this persona as I don't care. Yeah. And I don't care more than you. Watch, I'm drawing my face. Watch, I'm gonna wear pink. Watch, I'm gonna do this to my hair. I don't give a fuck so much that I'm so cool. And they champion those kids as being cool rather than the other kid that's like, look at my watch, look at my chain, look at my you know, look at my and then like they just like I think it's just a new version of cool that these kids developed that we used to chastise them for. Yeah, that is true. The pendulum has swung, and it's definitely in a different area. But honestly, that might be a good thing because I don't want to sit here and say like, you know, like we had everything bad, but instead of growing up valuing superficial shit, you know what I mean? Maybe it'll affect them in a way where they're actually working on themselves on the inside.
I think that. I think you're onto something with that because it's weird because there's certain concepts I can discuss with my 11-year-old and she understands them. Like social wise, just like you said, almost like self wise, like, this kind of understanding of concepts of just like things that we weren't even thinking about at that age, at like 11, 12. It wasn't even a concept. Like we wanted to be like so much that we would act like the cool guy rather than, like he said, kind of like, well, I'm not cool and it doesn't matter. You get what I'm saying? That was not the thing to do. So a lot of times we kind of like reconstructed who we were to fit in the versions of. Yeah. And now it's just like, I remember her like trying to make friends, and I was like, do what you do the way you do it, and eventually people are going to come over to you,
your friends,
and be your friends. Yeah. And that's it. And she lives by that now. And that's kind of how most of the kids are. It's like,
and I wish I had that.
They still have cliques. They still have groups. A lot of shit that we went through still exists. It's just there's a different sense of self that these kids have.
Yeah, you know how many things I've done in my age in a high school or younger where I regretted it, doing it, and still did it because it's like, I just want to be that dude. I want to be cool. I want my friends to think this is cool. Yeah, I wish I was brave enough to just be a little weirdo. That's why I'm like, I ain't gonna lie. I'm thankful for the group of friends that I grew up with, because like, don't get me wrong, like, you know, we were girl crazy, but when my first year of high school, I had a group of friends was just like, hey man, like all the cool kids is out here trying to talk to the girls, and drug dealers is over here, and the thugs is over here. Like, y'all want to go hang out with thugs? Or we could go wrestle on the goddamn turf, my nigga, and play WWF real quick. And niggas, I was just like, you want to wrestle? Like, I'll wrestle my head. So, you know what I mean? That kind of saved me, because at the time I was like joining gangs and shit, you know, getting into problems and shit. But I found my group, and I was lucky. I was lucky because I see so many people like, my man, you're not really like that. You're not really like that, and you don't want to be like that. But you following this trend that leads you into the wrong path in life. And how many people we know that's died growing up, bro? Off of gang shit. Like,
but I also think like,
or even worse.
I think that there's more a focus on being an individual, especially with content creation.
Definitely.
And like social media. It's more about being an individual personality that nobody's seen before.
Yeah.
So people are just like, how wild can I get? Who, like you said, showing like that real version of yourself kind of gets more people into you. Whereas back then, doing that will get you completely ostracized. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think like, it's just like, we grew up with this fear that we would end up being alone if we wouldn't have a group. Mm-hmm. We wouldn't have a people. So it's like, I gotta fit in with this group, because if I don't, I'm gonna be by myself. And now, like, kids don't really give a fuck.
Exactly.
They really don't care, because that everybody's capitalizing off being themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, that's dope. I fuck with it.
I think it's cool. I think there's gonna be some
obstacles.
Right. To go along with that, because they're very strong-minded.
Yeah, but that's why I feel like the same way in our last episode we were talking about like niche celebrity groups and shit like that. I think that's why there's so many subgroups, because people are more prone to being themselves. I want to be me, and I know there's a circle of people that agree with everything I'm trying to do, or they're like me or like-minded. And I feel like we should all do that. We should all find our group, our people. You know how long I spent my life like being Mr. Cool. I know, you know, the Jews and all that, and the ladies, man. I used to do this whole thing with the music and shit. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't fake. It wasn't fake. That's a part of me. But there's also another part of me that was like, you know, like kind of like introverted and a little nerdy and love tech and video games and art and wanted to dive deep in that.
With life is like, there's an aspect of duality, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I found that with myself with music, right? Mm-hmm. I'll have older friends, like business friends, where they haven't seen me turn up. You've been to the club with me, and Definitely. We are sometimes the center of the tension most of the time. Right? And we turning up. Some people don't see me in that aspect.
Yeah.
Or somebody else will see me like an older family member, and I'm a little more timid in front of them, and they don't see me as the cool guy.
Yeah.
Or somebody else will see me, and they would take a whole different take on me, where I am the cool guy and I am the mayor.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Yeah. Hi to everybody. I'm doing this, and that. Yeah. And it's like, part of being self-aware is not only knowing who you are on the inside, but it's aligning of other people's perspective of you. Mm. So if it's kind of like you're typecasted off the way you act. And when what other people think of you is what other people buy into you. So when you're typecasted as something like a particular version, even if like, say if I was making gangster music and I'm a straight fucking gangster, right? And I don't look like that, and other people don't see me as that, and I'm perpetuating that persona in my music, it's not gonna align. And that's also part of yourself not being self-aware of other people's perspective of you. You get what I'm saying?
I mean, I get that. I just don't. I feel like that's the thing about me. Like I'm a big dude, pretty heavy voice, and I think I allowed people's perception of me to dictate how I was going to act for a long period of time. For instance, so the whole I did gangster rap for a little while, and it's just like, bro,
that's the same side of the coin.
Yeah, I'm not saying
but so it's so other people could want you to act a certain way that you're not on the other side, and you're perpetuating that. I'm basically saying that sometimes being typecasted in society can work against you.
It can work against
you,
and
it's also part of not being self-aware, because I can know in my gut, in my soul, that I'm a certain way. Yeah, you know, and I'm self-aware of myself. I did the inside work, but on the outside looking in, if like, especially with branding, if people don't see you to fit a certain archetype, they're not going to champion you as such. Yeah. You know? Yeah. So it's almost aligning how you feel and aligning how other people see you to be. And
depending on what you're doing, if you're trying to sell a product, or if you're trying to be, if your image is tied to your success, then I get it. That's very relevant.
Right. Yeah.
So in my sense, like, I'm glad that, so for me personally, I'm glad that narrative has changed, where like there's duality now. Like before, 50 Cent, it's not even go 50 Cent. DMX couldn't make a Drake song. Niggas are like, what the fuck is that? That doesn't fit your typecast. So now Drake can talk gangster, even though Drake is like, you know what I mean? So I needed that to happen. Me personally, for the simple fact.
I understand
you
that.
You know what I mean? So
I have the same kind of thing going. Like, it's weird because I feel more now of a truer version of myself, but there's still like a perspective that a lot of people will hold me to, that I guess it's still a part of it exists, and it may have been a mask, but it was just a version of myself that I expressed. And it was almost like this version of myself, how I was saying I'm like into deep shit. I had to mask that. So a lot of people there's some people who probably don't think I'm smart. You get what I'm saying? Like, and I think a lot of it is self-awareness, but knowing who you are so deeply that it doesn't matter what other people think. Like, and even if, cause like even my family, like, I've always been the weird one. I've always been that one. And it's kind of changed over time. However, it's just like people will see me and be like, oh, no, sorry. Yeah. Let me reintroduce myself to you.
My name is
I'm sure you think you know who you thought I was, but you have no idea. And it's okay if you have that perception of me, but it's not my job to uphold that image for you. And you're allowed to rebrand yourself.
What I'm saying too is the best people and the best artists are well-rounded.
Yes.
So when you look at when you look at Tupac, perfect example. Yeah. Tupac can cry with you. Tupac can beat a nigga up. Tupac can get political, artistic, all these different facets. Kanye understands that.
Definitely.
He tries to give you so much different dimensions of himself,
right, that
there is no typecast. As soon as you box yourself in reality or art as a typecasted persona,
nobody's gonna hold your word.
Somebody's not gonna believe you.
Yeah. Right.
So the best thing you can do is something like this.
Just be well-rounded.
Yeah.
Right.
And I agree with you on that. I didn't know that's the point you were trying to make, but yeah, definitely. But I guess still, and my end result was that, because before it was just like, I know y'all not gonna accept me in my mind, you're not gonna accept me for being the nerd, for being into this and that, and then really thinking this way. So I would just be a people pleaser, like a yes man, and that got exhausting. and it got exhausting. It kind of made me resentful of people.
Yeah.
So until I started dealing with it correctly, I guess you can say, I just like, in this day, I'm whole.
Right.
I'm me. Like, you're gonna get
me. I just got to a point where I was like, fuck it.
Yeah, that's where I got.
I am the weird one. It's crazy because I remember them. They were like, "Oh, you're crazy." And once I accepted that, and I was like, "Oh, I'm crazy. I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what I do. Y'all already have this idea of me in my head.
Crazy.
So I'm going to do whatever I feel like aligns with who I feel I am.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want. And I completely understand. It's just like having to like become whole in yourself and like, okay, this is who I am. You know, the who buys into it's gonna buy.
Yeah. And
who doesn't, kick rocks.
Yep, pretty much. And that's pretty much how I feel. I don't know how we got into this subject, but hey, I if you're somebody that feels like you gotta wear a mask 24/7, take that shit off, bro. It's not worth it, man. Like we got what 80, 70, 80 years permitted on this earth if your health is good. Spending time being anything else but yourself is just not worth it. I'm not sitting here saying you should go to work and be like twerking or whatever or saying inappropriate shit, but you know what I mean, you should be around people that like just love you for who you are and like accept you for who you are. Those are the people that are going to help you thrive in life. Those are the people that you can have beautiful connections with.
Be where you're accepted, not tolerated.
Exactly. Like I've cut family members off because listen, man. If I can't be me, then you can't be you around me. You can't be around me. I don't got time.
And it's so liberating, man. It's just so when I still rap, but it's like when I was in the studios with niggas, I used to feel like a fucking alien. Sometimes
I used
to feel like just because I didn't, there's a collective persona that we as black people hold as rappers. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why the new generation of kids, they're doing such a great job with this shit because it's like duality and individualism, if that's a word. But I used to feel like a fucking alien. And it's like, this is like before Kid Cudi was out. This is like, we have a lot of alternative rappers. Yeah. But I was a spokesperson within myself to be alternative. I walk in the room as myself and I just try to be, I am myself, you know? There's probably a couple of times I perpetuated an exaggeration of myself, but still myself. And that, I can only imagine for somebody that's really holding a persona that's not them, how hard that would be.
Bro. Exhausting.
That shit is just exhausting.
Exhausting, bro. I remember back in the day, I was trying to be Crip, bro. Like, oh my God, bro. I be feeling guilty after jumping a nigga. I'm like, I just don't want to do this no more. Like, it just was like, oh my God, bro. I'm not gonna lie. And mind you, it was me being very, very young. I wasn't like fucking in my mid-20s being somebody I wasn't, even though I still like, I was more so the popular kid, you know what I mean? And sometimes that shit gets exhausting. Like, I don't know.
Being popular is overrated.
It's overrated, bro, because none of the relationships are fucking deep.
I'd rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies any day.
Hey, listen, I'll tell you that right now.
Yo, so with that all said, it's been 56 minutes, 52 seconds, and we just want to encourage y'all to like, subscribe, keep tuning in every week for more episodes of the IC. Of course, you know me, Essa.mov because it's a movie. Mm-hmm. Sean Johnson, we got right here, Gino Brown, aka Head Steph. Holla at your boy.
Man, follow me on the stream.
Sadè Reneè.
Hey.
And this is another episode of the IC.
Come again.
Please tune in next week. Like, subscribe. Please tune in to the community. Leave a comment. Let's get this thing going. Let's keep providing value. Let's keep aspiring people to think and talk about these situations. It's not all heavy. A lot of this stuff is basic conversation everybody should know, but a lot of people not really talking about this shit. They trying to be like dancing clowns and trying to entertain you first, but we're gonna entertain you and give you some of that medicine inside of the ice cream show.
Right into the pudding.
Yeah. So
some nutrition for your brain.
We about to end it right now. 58 seconds. See you later.